I thought it would be nice to take you guys on a little day in the life today, and I think especially because I'm now fully self-employed and I have been for the last month or two and running this business full time, it's been really interesting to see how I manage my time. Now I've got complete control over it, and especially how I balance slow living alongside productivity. I've spoken a little bit about this before on the channel, but I think that it can be often a misunderstanding that you can't be both. I love both things. I love living slowly, living intentionally, but I also love getting things done, working towards goals. So I thought I'd just show you how I encapsulate both in a typical work day today. So you will have seen a bit of my morning routine this morning. It's not changed radically, so I did film a morning routine for you guys a few weeks ago now, but I do like to change it through the year, especially as the seasons change and we're getting darker mornings now. But I continue to be an early bird. In fact, I'm getting up even earlier. So for a while there I was getting up at 5:30, and I've gone back to getting up at 5, and the main reason I've done that is that I've started writing quite early in the morning. So this is something new, like brand new, the last week or so I've been doing this. I really love the idea of writing in a memoir format, and it's something I've never done. And I think it would be really useful to improve my writing. Maybe it will turn into something in itself one day, but it's the sort of thing that I just didn't ever have, or not have time, never prioritised time for, I should say. And I've done this before with previous projects that have like a no deadline or like a long deadline, or, you know, they are important but they're not urgent, and all that urgent stuff ends up taking over. So for me, it's like I get out a weekly vlog once a week, I get out a weekly Substack, I run my Etsy store, all that is kind of a bit more urgent and needs keeping on top of, which means things like this writing project I've just never been able to pick up. So I intentionally scheduled this in now, that I do a little bit of writing every single morning, and it's made it a lot easier for me to start building on it, and I've actually really enjoyed it. And it doesn't mean that I write loads, and it doesn't even mean that I write anything at all. Some mornings I've ended up waking up and just not feeling it, so I've just read instead. But yeah, it's just a tip, you know, if there's a quiet point in your day, especially if it's early on in the day, I find it's the best time to get stuff done that you really do want to get done. But now I think I'm gonna go upstairs to my wee office, take you guys up there and show you what I've got planned for the day. I tend to plan my days the evening before because I find that it means I can get into work straight away, and it also makes me feel a bit more focused and a little bit more stressed. Not that I'm particularly stressed about my work, but it just means that I know what's going on and I don't have to worry about it. So I fill out my daily planner on my Notion, which is part of my slow living planner that I also sell on my Etsy store. So this is the format of my daily planner in my slow living Notion planner, and I split it all into different sections. So in the middle here you've got kind of the tasks, and I split that into my non-negotiables, so I just know that those are the things that are absolutely need to be done today, and I try and mix those between work tasks but also tasks that are important for my personal development or for my health. And then I've got a couple of quick ticks. It's just quite nice to have those on there because you can just tick those off really, really quickly. And then I've got my tasks, and I actually have started splitting these by like different categories. So I've got like my work tasks, my homemaking tasks, and anything else basically. You don't have to do that. I just quite like that format. And then I do time block my days, which can seem a bit intense, but for me, again, it just stops me being worried and keeps me flowing through my tasks easily. Hardly ever 100% stick to these timings, but it just shows that I've got all the time I need. It kind of shows where I want to balance the work, where I want to do more time on some tasks, less time on other tasks, and I just find it really useful. And then I've got this wee section. I've actually just filled this in for today. So I like to have an intention every day. I like to have something that lists something I'm grateful for, and I like to have a couple of points of how I will slow down today. And this one in particular I find really useful, and this is why this is a slow living planner. I wanted to create something that encourages slow living, living intentionally and looking after yourself basically, but also helps you be organised and get things done that are important to you. And in terms of how I balance my day, I tend to do most of my kind of computer work in the morning. I'm at my best and most focused in the morning, and I always start with the most important task of the day. So today that is actually creating a new template for my Etsy store. And I save my admin, so like responding to emails, responding to comments and that kind of thing, till like at least after I've done that task or a good chunk of it done. So it's usually like late morning or about lunchtime, early afternoon that I actually do that, because I find that can send you down a bit of a rabbit hole, and sometimes it feels quite productive to just get these things ticked off. And if I have any urgent emails or ones that will just take like a few minutes, maybe sending a brand a video to review, I might do that first thing. But other than that, I then tend to leave it till later in the day. And then in the afternoons I like to do more stuff off screen, so I do a lot of my homemaking in that time, so a lot of cooking, cleaning, and also just a few like hobbies or activities that mean I'm not on the screen all of the time, and I find that really works for me. And of course I try and give myself plenty of breaks. This is something that I really worked on, because I do tend to fly through my tasks from just having to. So I had this business alongside working for another job as a conservationist for years, and it just meant that I had to get everything done really quickly, otherwise I just wouldn't get it done. So now I have the luxury to slow down a bit. I'm really forcing myself to take regular breaks and doing something I enjoy, mostly reading. But yeah, going to crack on with this Notion today. I'm on the fun bit, I'm making it look pretty, so I've sort of done the format of the template. So now I go into Canva and I pick the graphics I want, and yeah, when I do this I'm like, this doesn't feel like work but I do want to get this done this week, so yeah, I'm gonna crack on with that now. I'm on a reading break now. I like to do a little bit of reading in the morning to break up my tasks for the day. So I'm going to do a little bit of this before getting on with lunch, but I thought I would just show you a couple of books, new books I've got, and chat a little bit about them, because I've been writing, as I said, a memoir type thing, and it's essentially a nature memoir, which is a genre that I really enjoy. So yeah, I thought I'd show you what I got. So I mentioned a couple of these already in my bookshelf tour video, so if you haven't seen that I will link it down below. But yeah, it's just these two here. So I was just finished reading The Wild Silence by Raina Wynn, which was amazing. She's one of the main reasons I got interested in this genre of books to start with, because I read her book The Salt Path and I can't wait to read a third one. And yeah, I've started this, I want to get back into this one as well, which is again a really beautifully written nature memoir book. And then I've got a couple of new ones that I've not read yet, but I managed to get those secondhand, so that's great. I don't, I've said this before, I borrow a lot of books from the library, but because I wanted to probably dig into these more often and reference them, I thought I would try and actually buy some. The first one is this one, I Belong Here, and it's really well reviewed. It's by Anita Sethi. And I think it's about her journey, where it says a journey along the backbone of Britain. So I think she explores a lot of the area. I think it's North England is the area she's from. And she's a woman of colour, so she talks a little bit about her experience being a woman of colour and walking and being in nature. Yeah, and as the title says, why she does belong there. And I think it's going to be a really beautifully written book and memoir, so I can't wait to get into that. And then I've got another one here, The Outrun by Amy Liptrot. And this is one of those stories that I love to read. It's essentially someone that escapes the rat race. So Amy, at the age of 30, she goes to live on Orkney. I think she comes from London or from a city anyway, and it's about her experience living on Orkney. And I love reading about people's experience living in like rural locations. Obviously I live in the Scottish Highlands and I've never been to Orkney, but I really want to go, so I think this will inspire me even more so to do that. And then finally what I'm reading just now is actually a book about writing memoirs, like a guide, which I've heard really good things about. It doesn't just, I think at the moment anyway, the beginning bits, the preparation bit, is probably relevant to any kind of writing. So if you're interested in kind of writing, it's just like how to get into the flow of it essentially. But I think it does specifically talk about memoir writing, and Raina Wynn, who wrote The Salt Path, says that, you know, she's got a good review for it. So I thought this would be worth digging into, and it's really short chapters. It's just like a couple of pages each, so it's really doable just to read a few chapters here and there. And yeah, so far I have been enjoying it and found it useful. So I think I'm going to do a little bit more reading and then I'm going to get into having some lunch. So I'm getting pretty hungry now, so I'm actually going to get on with my lunch, and I'm going to make a soup. So I'm going to make a tomato and basil soup because I have some tomatoes that need using, and it feels like a very soup kind of day. It's a little bit grey. I've got like my cozy jumper on here, and I love having a soup for lunch, and this one is a super easy, super cheap recipe, so I'll show you how I do it. I've just done a little bit more work and pretty much signed off for the day because my brain doesn't work that well later on in the afternoon. So I've just been doing a little bit of journaling. I showed this handbook, I think, in my writing vlog, Day in the Life of a Writer. And it's just really good because it means I can just flick to the nearest page and get an exercise and do a little bit of writing. So this one was about setting a time for 20 minutes and write about a time you were disappointed. So that's what I've been doing for the last 20 minutes. And like I said before, I like to write it in my own journal rather than in the bits they give because there's not usually that much space. But yeah, this is me starting to wind down for the day. I will do a little bit more reading now and then I will crack on with some dinner. I'm just going to have leftovers, just myself tonight. My partner Terry is away. He's freelance outdoor instructor, so he's off working this weekend and taking Sky with him. It's sad, but also, you know, it's quite nice not to have because she's quite energetic, so she does need quite a lot of like entertaining, so it feels quite chill, if weird, without her. So I'm just going to be having some leftover curry and then I'll be winding down for the evening, so I'll check in with you guys then. So I was going to film a bit more this evening. I've just had dinner, but I'm actually quite tired today. I didn't sleep very well last night, so I've decided to cut the vlog pretty much here as my intention today was to be kind to myself. I'm listening to that intention, and I think that's really important to do. But in terms of what I do in the evening to wind down, a few people have asked, because I don't tend to film in the evening, because I do like to have that time to just relax. After my dinner I tend to do some yoga, so Boho Beautiful are probably my favourite, well, are my favourite yoga channel on YouTube. They've got an app which I was a member of for years, and I do really highly recommend it, but I just had to cut back on a few expenses, so I actually just use their free content on YouTube. And then after I've done my yoga I do my meditation for the day, and I use the app Aura, which is my favourite mindfulness app, and what I've mentioned before, because I am a brand ambassador for them. I really believe in their mission and they do really, really good things. And in terms of, I just thought I'd share like my favourite teacher on there is this lady here, so Cass Palopio, I'm not sure you say her name, but she says this, she's an expert in meditation, like all of them on here, but also specifically designed for like sleep, helping you sleep, and she's got like loads of really good classes on here. And I think it's important to find classes and teachers that you can connect with, and I just have to start hearing her voice and I instantly feel relaxed. She's got a very soothing voice, because you know, you don't always engage with every meditation teacher, so yeah, I just thought I would share, because I know some of you guys now use Aura, and if you do, let me know who your favourite teacher is or your favourite classes, because there's like hundreds on here. It's an amazing app. But yeah, so I'm going to do that this evening and get an early night as always. But thank you very much for watching this vlog, guys. I really hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next week.